Alright, Shalom, giving all praise and all glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Hakwadash, double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone that rule well. Shalom to you, Arkin, pushing this word around the globe in faith and in truth and in sincerity. As always, I start by saying that we are the real Hebrew Israelites, the real Israelites, your so-called Negroes, Latinos, Hispanics, Native Americans, West Indians, West Africans predominantly. However, you are going to get Israelites that do look like the other 17 nations because Israel has been scattered amongst all people throughout our various captivities, so we're going to look like all people. But if the lineage of your forefathers goes back to the man in the Bible that was named Israel, then you too are an Israelite no matter what you may look like, because Numbers chapter 1 and verse 18 states that your lineage is determined by your nationality is determined by the lineage of your forefathers. So I've got an article I was just reading here from the Evening Standard, and it says face masks and social distancing could be in place until next summer, Oxford vaccine professor warns. So let's get into this article. It says face masks and social distancing could be face masks and social distancing measures could be in place until next summer, the head of Oxford's coronavirus vaccine trial has said. Professor Andrew Pollard, director of the Oxford Vaccine Group, said the vaccine would likely not be available until next year and that key groups such as frontline health workers would be in front of the queue for jabs. Life won't be back till normal until next summer at the earliest. We may need masks until July, the Daily Mail reported him saying during an online seminar. If we end up with a vaccine that's effective in preventing the disease, that is by far the best way to control the virus. But in the medium term, we still need better treatments. He added, even if we had enough vaccine for everyone, in my view, it's unlikely that we're going to very rapidly be in a very very rapidly be in a position where the physical distancing rules can just be dropped. Oxford is among around 165 groups of researchers racing to develop a vaccine. Here's the Edomite here. And as you can see, he's an Edomite. Because you so-called white people, you want white people because your skin's not white. As you can see, this man, Professor Andrew Pollard, is wearing a pink shirt, and his flesh tone more closely resembles the colour of that pink shirt than it does the white background of this web page. So Esau, who was named Edom, Edom means red. And, you so-called people, you're the red people because you don't have melanin in your skin due to the plague of biblical leprosy that was put upon your forefather, Cain. And you came back in the reincarnation as Esau. And, these are his descendants. Esau being the brother of Jacob, forefather of the Israelites. So anyway, it says the UK government currently has 6 vaccine candidates in its portfolio produced by AstraZeneca and Oxford University, BioNTech, Pfizer, Valneva, Novavax, Johnson & Johnson, and GlaxoSmithKline. Professor Pollard said rolling out the vaccine could be a huge logistical challenge. He added, initially we were going to be in a position where mask wearing and social distancing don't change. Only when there's a big drop in serious cases will governments feel able to relax these measures. The professor explained that if the AstraZeneca Oxford trial proves successful, it will need approval from Medicines and Healthcare Products Regulatory Agency, who will scrutinise the data very carefully. It comes after Katie Bingham, the chairwoman of the UK Vaccine Task Force, said she was hopeful in getting the trial data for the Oxford study, as well as the vaccine from Pfizer BioNTech before the end of the year. Both studies are currently in phase 3 clinical trials, meaning that the vaccine has been given to thousands of participants to check for its safety and effectiveness. The final stage before researchers submit the data to the regulators for approval. But Miss Bingham said there was a slim chance of getting the Oxford vaccine before Christmas. She said, I'm optimistic that we will see something 4 of our 6 vaccines are now in phase 3 studies, and in each of them, we've seen very positive data in the phase 1 and stage 2 clinical studies, which shows that people who have received the vaccine do elicit a strong immune response, and that if you take the neutralizing antibodies that are triggered, those antibodies are able to kill the COVID virus. So that's very positive, and it's as good as it can be at the moment. And we now need to see whether or not those immune responses that we see translate into production. Someone needs to spell check that. Now this is just more unrighteous decrees from Esau, essentially. Let me get a couple precepts. Bear with me. Isaiah chapter 10 and verse 1 is where I'll start. I'm already in the book of Isaiah, it's cool. So Isaiah chapter 10 and verse 1, it says, "Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees, and the right grievousness which they have prescribed." And this is the grievousness which Esau's prescribed. All this lockdown shit, forcing people to social distance. Over here we've got this so-called rule of 6 nonsense. People aren't allowed to go and, congregate in other family members' homes, stuff like that. You had a funeral the other day. A man wanted to sit next to his mum, and a guy at the funeral was forbidding him to do so, telling him he's got to move because of social distancing, and that's at a funeral. You know what I'm saying? So all this is unrighteous decrees from Esau. So let's read it again. It says, Isaiah 10 and 1, "Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees, and that right grievousness which they have prescribed, to turn aside the needy from judgment, and to take away the right from the poor of my people, that widows may be their prey." And I just said that woman at the funeral that was grieving for her dead husband, she's a widow, and she was the prey of that Edomite who came up and told her son he got to move. So it says that widows may be their prey, and that they may rob the fatherless. And what will you do in the day of visitation, and in the desolation which shall come from far? To whom will you flee for help, and where will you leave your glory? So Esau's going down, man. Revelation 12 and 12. It says, "Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them, and woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea. For the devil has come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that ye have but a short time." So Esau's losing his kingdom and his power structure, and he's coming down unto the people having great wrath, decreeing all these unrighteous decrees, because Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai is bringing this man's kingdom to an end. He's bringing it down. Let me get the book of Daniel. Yeah. This is the prophecy that Daniel had in regard to the dream that King Nebuchadnezzar had. And he wanted Daniel to interpret the dream, and the dream was of the statue with the head of gold. I think the body was of silver, the feet of bronze, and the legs of iron, and the feet of iron mixed with clay. It's like you're roughly paraphrasing it. I think that's how it went. But essentially, that statue was a metaphor for all the kingdoms of the earth. And it started off at the top of the head, the head being of gold, and all the subsequent nations like the Greek Empire, the Babylonian, is it the Medo-Persian, the Greek, the Roman, and then this last kingdom, which is the feet. The feet represented the time we're in now, the kingdom that we're in now. And I'm just going to read this down and to read the end of what it's going to be. This is Daniel 2 and 40. It says, "And the fourth kingdom shall be as strong as iron, for as much iron breaketh in pieces and subdueth all things, and as iron that breaketh, all these shall it break in pieces and bruise. So that's talking about that empire. Whereas thou sawest the feet and the toes that are part of the potter's clay, and that part of the iron, the kingdom shall be divided. And this is the kingdom that we're in now. And as Yahushua said, if Satan's house be divided against Satan, then how can it stand? Which is exactly what's happening right now. And it says, Daniel 2:41, and whereas thou sawest the feet and the toes, part of potter's clay and part of iron, the kingdom shall be divided, but there shall be in it of the strength of the iron, for as much thou sawest the iron mixed with miry clay. And as the toes of the feet were part iron and part clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken. Whereas thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men, but they shall not cleave to one another, as iron is not mixed with clay. And in the days of these kings shall the Most High of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed. This is talking about the kingdom of our kingdom, the kingdom of Israel. It says, and in those days of these kings shall the Most High of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed, and the kingdom shall not be left to other people. So that's a cut to you, vocab alone, who's trying to talk about this Christian replacement theology. This clearly states that the kingdom's not going to be left unto other people. But it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. For as much as thou sawest the stone that was cut out of the mountain without hands, and that it brake in pieces the iron and the brass and the clay and the silver and the gold, and the great Most High hath made known to the king what is to come to pass thereafter, and the dream is of a certain interpretation, Salakia, and the interpretation thereof is sure. Now what happened is this giant stone, this great millstone, came and smashed the feet of the statue, and the statue fell apart. Now that stone represents Yahushua when he comes back with his mighty chariot and his host of angels to destroy this kingdom, which is soon to come. This judgment is soon to come upon the earth. And that's why Esau's getting desperate now and he's doing all these lockdown measures, because he's hastening to try and forward his agenda to implement his RFID implantable microchip, which is the mark of the beast, and he's trying to do it before Yahushua returns. Now, the fact that Esau is trying so hard and hastening so quick shows us that the end is nigh. And the Most High is first of all, the Most High is bringing this kingdom down, same way he did to ancient Egypt, by sending plagues, famine, pestilences, wars, rumors of wars, earthquakes, upwards of the people, stuff like that. The Most High is gradually diminishing this place. He's destroying the economy. He's destroyed the people. These people ain't got jobs. And it's all part of a systematic breakdown that is the fulfillment of the will of Yahweh, which is the Most High. So it's all according to his will. There was one other precept I want to get, because they're talking about this coronavirus vaccine, and some other camps and Israelite groups are talking shit, saying that, you should take the vaccine and there's nothing wrong with taking the vaccine. Well, I'm going to prove there is something wrong with taking the vaccine. Let me just get this precept here. This is Leviticus chapter 19 and verse 28. It says, ye shall not make any cuttings in your flesh for the dead, nor print any marks upon you. I am Yahweh. So we're not supposed to have any cuttings in our flesh, point blank, period. So if you're getting a needle injected into your skin, that represents a cutting in your flesh, and that is forbidden by the law of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. Now there's a lot of people who think it's quite normal to be going around getting jabs and jukes and injections, but that ain't how it's supposed to be. So you're not supposed to be doing this stuff. So it would behoove you right now to get your mind right, and to know that, getting injections is off, and that you shouldn't be doing it, because according to the law of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, which is the law of this Bible, you're not supposed to have any cuttings in your flesh. And there's Leviticus 21 and 5 also, which states the same thing. It says, they shall not make baldness upon their head, neither shall they shave off the corner of their beard, nor make any cuttings in their flesh. They shall be holy unto their Most High, and shall not profane the name of the Most High, for the offerings of the Most High, Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, made by fire, and the bread of their power do they offer. Therefore they shall be holy. So we're supposed to be a holy people. And the word holy means to be separate. So we're not supposed to be conforming to the ways of this wicked world. So that's all I've got to say on this one. It's just interesting to watch this society fall apart. And Lord willing, we'll be out of here soon when Yahushua our Lord returns. So with that, giving all praise and honor and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Chachodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone at Well. And shalom to you, Arkin, pushing this word around the globe in faith and in truth and sincerity. And until the next lesson, Lord willing, I say, Shalom, Wa, Baba Kashar, Baba Kashar, Baba Kashar, Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Abba Baba, Wa Kwam Yasharala. Shalom.